So we're at SubZero Motorsports today to get my car ice blasted actually. I always keep on going to sandblasting because that's the usual thing we're used to. But these guys here do an incredible new thing, which I've never heard of until recently, which is ice blasting, where they can remove an enormous amount of debris and aging from stuff like, for example, an engine bay, for example, like my one. So you see here, I've had some cowboys do some work to the car and they've painted some parts, like for example, the cooling tank. I never thought this could be taken off, but ideally we're gonna try now and see with ice blasting if we can take this sort of stuff off, as well as other, little dirt particles and stuff like that. We're gonna go to Mark. Mark is one of the guys who's gonna save my car today from these cowboy painters. So Mark, I see here you have the ice, the dry ice, which I thought was nitrogen.
Liquid nitrogen.
So
not the Terminator
I got
stuff.
excited from that, but this is just as exciting. So do you want to tell us, first of all, like, what's the temperature of this?
Yes, of course, yeah. So the dry ice we use is 3mm pellets, which are pushed through a blasting machine at high pressure. It's essentially frozen liquid CO2 that then sublimates into a gas. And what it is, there's three things when you're cleaning that makes it so effective. It's essentially the force from the blaster, which is 7 bar upwards of pressure coming through. You've got the freeze shock, which is minus 80 degrees. As it actually hits it, it unsticks things. And then also you have the sublimation, which means the pellets are turning from solid to gas. And that reaction expands it by 800 times and causes essentially a miniature explosion as it hits the dirt, freezes it, and it drops. CO2 neutral. It's totally effective at cleaning plastics, dirt, and areas which you can't normally get into a physical cleaning with brushes or, chemicals while you're cleaning. We can get into them with dry ice. It allows you to blast right down and lift all the dirt out in a dust fashion. So yeah, it's very effective at what it does.
So say you touch, for example, paintwork, like a gloss paintwork, would it take
no,
the paint as well?
It does not. No, you can use you can clean windscreens. You can actually clean paintwork if you want to. It would be an expensive clean because the media is quite expensive, the dry ice. But essentially, it's not like sandblasting. It's essentially treated like a tool. So sandblasting has its place where it's really effective. Dry ice has its place where it's very effective at what it does.
Right.
Essentially, a cleaning that's non-abrasive for lifting off paint.
Yeah, exactly. And undo. So maybe sometimes some people have mistakes. Like someone that painted my engine bay. No, it's not me, I swear. Anyway, do you want to show us how this works roughly?
Of course, So essentially, we have the dry ice pellets. Don't touch them with your hand. You can pick them up, but you can't hold them still. They'll freeze, burn your hand because they're at minus 79, minus 80 degrees, so it's quite cold. There's no liquid or it doesn't turn. It literally sublimates into a gas. It doesn't turn into ice or antiphotic. The blaster is an industrial scale blaster. We run around upwards generally of 5 to 7 bar, 7 to 9 depending if you're doing underseal on a car, a little bit more. It's got a rotary feeder which feeds the 3mm pellets into the blaster, and what it does, it pushes them through at high power into the gun, and you can adjust them depending on what nozzle you use in the gun. Can also adjust the pressure, so you have a few different options for and solutions to some of the problems you're trying to clean. And that's what Chris was saying earlier. You have to find out some of the areas where you're cleaning, what's the best nozzle, what's the best pressure to get them nice and effective, and then you get your TikTok.
And you raise, and you raise the bar. So if the dirt is hard to take off, you raise the pressure, or normally you just spend more time at it.
Normally you adjust the nozzle when we're working on a car like that. If it's an engine bay, it's a lot lighter work than an underbody, which is underseal. Right. And if you have the underseal, it's a specific, it's quite heavy duty, so you need high pressure, high impact. And attention to lift off that underseal underneath the body. So it's about using the right amount of pressure with the right nozzle for the right job you're doing, and finding that as you go.
So we're ready now to do the ice blasting. We're putting the not AirPods. What are they called? These ones, earpods. Earpods in. So it's pretty loud, I've been told, and actually, surprisingly enough, it's actually quite safe to breathe in. I mean, we don't recommend to actually stand around it or breathe over it for a long time, but when they're doing it, it's not actually dangerous unless you're in an enclosed space. So let's get these in and let's go. Ready for action. we've been here for an hour and we finally finished the engine bay. We've also done some little other parts very kindly. Thanks to the guys here, we've done the brake calipers and some other bits and pieces around again from all that overspray, which was literally everywhere.
Yeah.
You said it was terrible. But we can look, so the main things I've noticed in the engine bay is, first of all, the colors of all the plastic parts that I never thought would have gone back to the OEM look. I'm finding greens, browns, reds. The coolant tank, for example, that, you know, all the plastic, the translucent plastic was painted in black. Here, this painted black again, back to the original yellow, and just generally looks incredible. Then if you must have seen some of the shots. I think you guys had the really long tube, the steel tube that went inside, and just, I'm quite shocked how it cleaned all of the metal parts completely, as if it was sandblasted. And yeah, it was noisy, but I was surprised by how clean it was generally. Also, other things, we did the caliper, as I said. Over there, I was saying to Mark that I tried with all chemicals. I tried a bit of sanding down, which is best not to do on the yellow paint, and I just couldn't take the dirt off. But Mark really managed to take most of everything off, and just looks really new, I think. And it took us took you guys an hour roughly, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And that's what we like to do. You get set up, you get your pressures right. You have to be very cautious of little, sensitive areas like stickers or sound deadening under the engine or underneath the bonnet to make sure you don't blow it away, because you are still running air at 7 bar pressure through it. So just being cautious as we clean things. You like to make sure we're getting the best or the most effective out of the tools used. Like you said, Chris is using the long extension to get in and around to make sure we can clean little nooks and crannies in areas that are difficult. And it's amazing what it does for brake dust, actually. Yeah, it takes it right off straight away, almost too easy when you see the difference.
And I guess you can do all stuff later if you had more time. You could do like discs, you can do the inside of the wheel, you can do, and also, I mean, the carpet, which I never understood why they put carpets on the inside, but that all
absolutely, yeah.
Out,
it'll
like,
do
perfect.
Full arches. We do packages for arches, suspension, full underbody work, right the way back. And if you see from our Instagram and stuff, it brings back the plastics on some of the cars to almost brand new. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's really great the way you got inside as well, and I saw Chris getting right in there. So, but looks really, really good. Thank you so much.